and gentlemen, WWE has finally righted the ship from last week. We had an entertaining Raw, and we have an even more entertaining midweek wrap-up this week.
Heck yeah.
Kind of a basic main event, which is where we'll start off. We open up with Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz, which isn't something that's happened on main event in a long while. They've been...
Yeah, these guys are two guys who you don't see main eventing often.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that they are a little bit on the higher tier of star power than your
You don't
Heath
see
Slaters,
the main eventing there either.
the Heath Slaters and the Fandangos and the Zack Ryders.
Yeah. But yeah, they've faced each other many times before, put on a very similar match. Miz did have some good defense against the splash in the corner and the neck breaker spot. They had a good feed into Dolph Ziggler hitting the Famouser. But the big story was that Tyler Breeze and Summer Rae were at ringside.
Yeah.
Tyler was upset that Dolph beat him this past Monday on Raw. So
Get over yourself, Breeze.
when he was given the chance,
Like that'll ever happen.
Dolph is tossing Miz back in the ring. Dolph's trying to get back into the ring, and Breeze distracts him, allowing Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale, and the Miz picks up the win on the main event.
Miz kicked the rope into Dolph's junk.
Yeah. And then we had Sasha Banks taking on Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox still only having Brie in her corner, which is awesome. But yeah, Team Bad definitely having the numbers in their favor.
Used it.
Yeah.
Twice.
Sasha and Alicia still had some great moves against each other. Alicia had, what did you call it? The foxhole?
The foxhole.
Where she
It's basically a DDT with the legs.
Yeah, where she grabs the arm, she puts her leg behind her head and drives her down. That was initially setting up Alicia for the win, but when Naomi and Tamina both got up on the apron, that allowed Sasha Banks to kind of come to. Alicia went for a scoop slam, which was reversed into the backstabber, which led into the bank statement, and Alicia Fox tapped out.
Oh snap!
What you going to do? Then we had Bo Dallas versus Ryback for some reason.
Oh snap! She had tap.
Ryback versus Bo Dallas.
Yeah, Bo Dallas is awesome.
Bo Dallas got way more offense off than I thought he was going to.
Yeah. Even his own version of the meat hook.
Yeah, you popped for that one.
Yeah. Well, you don't often just think you're gonna see somebody
close on the shit out of Ryback.
Close on the shit out of Ryback, especially when they're significantly smaller than Ryback.
And especially when they're Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas ended up getting really, I don't know, he got real testy. He wanted to yell a lot. He was just really angry at Ryback. And
he's getting feisty.
Yeah.
He's he's amping up the testicular fortitude.
Yeah, so he starts yelling.
Because it does take balls to yell at Ryback.
That's true. Unfortunately, his balls...
Unless maybe he thought Ryback was deaf, hard of hearing.
That's why he does this?
Yeah.
For those of you who listen to the podcast, that'll make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he's just trying to call his spots.
So he's just yelling at Ryback, "Are you hungry? Are you hungry, Ryback?" And Ryback was. And so he got Bo Dallas in the shell shock and picked up the win. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice going, Bo. But then the main event was Stardust versus Titus O'Neil. I find it funny that the first and last matches of this are things that we didn't really go over much on the Raw review.
Yeah.
Because we were...
That shows you how important they are.
Yeah, doing a new format.
Guys.
We had Stardust doing a promo on Raw that got interrupted by Titus O'Neil. That kind of led into this match. Stardust was on the offensive most of this match.
Yeah, I want to point out that there were two extremely loud chops
from
Titus O'Neil onto Stardust.
Yeah,
that had Stardust screaming like a girl.
That pleather outfit makes a lot of sound. Stardust. Stardust is he's in control for most of it. He rubs his shiny silver face paint all over the side of Titus's head.
Make him look like half Titus, half Cisco.
But then Titus is able to pull out Clash of the Titus and pick up the win. And that was the main event of the main event. Now we're going to move on to NXT.
The part that made the midweek really good.
NXT was fantastic this week. We open up with Baron Corbin taking on Tye Dillinger.
Yeah, Tye Dillinger now babyface because the 10 movement has started.
It's a thing, and it is running wild in NXT right now.
Tenomania.
Tenomania. That should be a thing.
Yeah, Decamania.
But yeah, no, Tye Dillinger really brought it to Baron Corbin, very much in the same way that I didn't expect Vaudevillains to get a lot of offense on Ryback. Tye Dillinger got a lot of offense off on Baron Corbin.
Yeah, the one I really liked was Tye Dillinger went for a super kick, and then Corbin caught it and threw his foot away, and then he immediately just super kicked him again. Yeah. Anyways, like, fuck you, I'm hitting this.
Move of the match, though, Baron Corbin's 360 back suplex was amazing.
That, like, almost bow stand slam setup.
Yeah. He picked him up, back suplex, spun.
Like, from like a running, though.
Yeah.
Like, he scooped him up as he was going by.
Yeah.
That made it, like, awesome.
No, it was a fantastic move. Tye Dillinger was in control towards the end, went for a crossbody off the second rope, but was caught and swung into the end of days, and Baron Corbin picks up the win.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ty.
We find
down to 9.5.
We find out that next week we're going to be getting a tag team match where Apollo Crews will team with Finn Balor, and they will take on the team of Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin. Both, their respective matches heading into TakeOver London in 2 weeks. But Crews, the guy interviewing, I can't remember who was interviewing. I think it was
Kyle Edwards.
Right. Yeah, that guy that I don't really know. He asked Apollo Crews, like, are you worried about, Baron Corbin getting some sort of advantage, maybe, weakening you down before TakeOver London? He says, no, I'm more worried about me ripping Baron Corbin apart before we get to London.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Apollo Crews is out for blood at this point.
Yeah, and I like what he said at the end where he says that, with the tag team match and TakeOver combined, that Finn and Apollo will get rid of Joe and Corbin, and then they'll get to find out who the real man in NXT is.
Yeah, have a rematch that won't get screwed up by Baron Corbin and Samoa Joe. No. Speaking of Samoa Joe, we had his main event opponent for tonight, Tommaso Ciampa, very sure of himself that he's going to beat Samoa Joe, and when he does, everything changes.
Yeah, well, when you're a Sicilian psychopath, you probably have a lot of self-confidence.
I would say so. We had Nia Jax taking on the returning Blue Pants.
Hey, Blue Pants with a new song?
Yeah.
It's like an actual song. It's not just the audio clip of Big Cass singing.
Singing the Price is Right theme song. Yeah, Blue Pants didn't have the greatest showing in this match, though.
Nia Jax is kind of big and mean.
Yeah, but we've had other girls actually kind of stand a chance against Nia Jax, and this was not one of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna attribute this to just moving closer towards TakeOver, where I think, we'll talk a little bit about it later. But I mean, it's fairly certain after last week's NXT that we're getting Nia Jax versus Bayley at TakeOver.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of one of those. Let's make Nia Jax look super dominant to make it look like this is going to be Bayley's first super test. Because it's going to be like, Bayley's had 2 title defenses now, but against the much smaller Alexa Bliss and the handicapped Eva Marie.
Yeah.
It's like Bayley really hasn't had a challenge yet since beating Sasha in this rematch.
Right.
So, we're going to make Nia Jax look like the biggest problem possible. Now, I think, we'll probably get it again next week where she just comes and, squashes a person completely.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that now. After Nia Jax defeated Blue Pants with her big leg drop, we did have Bayley in the back having an interview talking about, Nia Jax potentially being an opponent, and Nia Jax actually walked in. Bayley had said that she'll take on any challenge, doesn't matter what it is. Nia Jax would kind of stare Bayley down, which was pseudo a challenge in its own right. And Bayley's like I said, I'll take any challenge. And it was at this point that Nia Jax came back into camera frame, grabbing Bayley and tossing her through a fucking door.
Yeah.
And, Nia Jax was happy with herself, and Bayley was a little worse for wear.
As normally happens when you're set through a door by a large person.
It's kind of a thing. We had Tom Phillips interviewing Dash and Dawson, letting them know that at TakeOver London, they will be defending the NXT Tag Titles against Cass and Enzo. Dash and Dawson with a great promo here.
Yeah, well, these guys, I think, it became very apparent during the Dusty Rhodes Invitational Tag Tournament that these guys could get it done in the ring.
Oh, for sure.
And I think now it's going to become apparent that these guys also have maybe not the best mic skills in the world, but they have the charisma to carry themselves in front of a camera, not just, being two generic looking dudes who can wrestle very well, but, can also cut a promo, not on the level of maybe, say, John Cena, but on the level of
No, their promo style.
at least Roman Reigns.
Their promo style fits their wrestling style too.
Yeah.
It's very forward. It's very direct.
It's very reminiscent of old school people.
Yeah, they tell you exactly what's going to happen, and they're really good at keeping their word.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. I think with the fact that Dash and Dawson are really at their height right now, having them go against Cass and Enzo, who are arguably the most popular tag team in NXT.
If not just the most popular entrance in NXT.
True. So yeah, that should be a great match. Up next, we had James Storm come back.
Hey-o.
He took on Adam Rose.
The party pooper.
Versus the Bearded Outlaw.
Yeah, well, James Storm, you look at the guy and you go, that's the guy, I bet he likes to party.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, at one point in TNA, he had a beer cooler on a scooter.
He did have that.
Remember the beer cooler that he could ride around backstage?
I do remember that, yes. That was when TNA was still okay.
Yeah. If you can have a motorized cooler that you ride around, you're probably a partier.
Yeah. James Storm and Adam Rose, great match. Very simple, very,
straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward, to the point, putting over Storm a little bit more.
Yeah.
Adam Rose, obviously with the new gimmick where he comes out to the Exotic Express theme song and then stops and walks all the way down. People want to watch him get his ass kicked. And James Storm was very good at kicking ass.
Because, and usually too, he cuts the music off to cut a demeaning, audience-bashing promo.
I actually appreciated the fact that with this one, instead of doing a promo, he stopped the music and then just walked down to the ring while people were trying to do the theme song, which was great, and he gave no fucks.
No, that's Adam Rose's favorite thing to do is not give a fuck.
Yeah, no, I thought that was even better than cutting a promo. But yeah, him and James Storm had a fantastic match. James Storm picking up the win with the super kick, which he's calling the last call. And I want James Storm to be around all the time. This is
the thing. Like, I really appreciate all the outside talent that keeps coming into NXT.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing is now I'm like, oh, well, let's sign these guys to contracts.
Yeah, you said the same thing when Tommaso was doing his promo.
Yeah, no, Tommaso needs to have a full-time contract. I'd really enjoyed if Gargano got a contract, but, Gargano's got his hands full with a lot of stuff. Because he wrestles
he's got
all over
3 or 4 different promotions that he wrestles for.
And he's the head trainer at AIW, so he's got that also. He's got other responsibilities.
Yeah. I love the fact that James Storm is able to be himself. That's the great thing about NXT is that you're getting all these guys coming in, and they don't have to really change who they are.
Yeah.
They're able to be themselves. Granted, most of them get new names, but there's nothing wrong with that because they're still the same character. They still have the same mannerisms, which is really what you get attached to.
I have a feeling like the name change thing is going to kind of go by the wayside a lot more now.
Especially with guys that are already established.
Yeah, because you had all these people come in who were known people. Pac came in, got renamed Adrian Neville. Virgil Devitt comes in, gets renamed Finn Balor. Kenta comes in, gets renamed Hideo Itami.
Yeah. Hell, even Kana gets renamed Asuka.
And I think one of these things is the style of NXT is becoming so reminiscent of an independent wrestling show.
Right.
That I think it's becoming apparent that, you know, as much as, say, a Vince McMahon wouldn't like it, that you don't have to turn everybody into a WWE-made product in order to get them over. You know, with the fact that all these guys from the indies are already in NXT, and then you're bringing in all these other people that everyone knows from TNA or Ring of Honor or Evolve or wherever it may be, that, you know, hey, these guys are already famous for who they are. Why change them? Yeah. Let them be them.
Because you know the crowd is going to cheer for who they know anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't right away that people were chanting Neville.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't right away that people were chanting Finn. You know, they were still tied to those independent names.
Yeah.
And especially when you had people like Samoa Joe, like James Storm, like Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, who are on TV and all these other promotions, you really can't expect people to call someone a different name.
Yeah.
So yeah, having that leniency is so refreshing because we don't have to try and get used to calling these people something else that we don't care about. So.
Yeah. I just got used to Cesaro.
Yeah, I know, right?
And he's been in the company now like 3 or 4 years.
Something like that.
By the way, I'm just going to take this out of, since we're talking about NXT.
Okay.
WWE talked about that they were going to be releasing a Best of NXT Volume 1
Oh,
DVD.
yes.
And one of the advertised matches is Seth Rollins and CM Punk. CM Punk making a special appearance at an NXT taping versus Cassius Ohno and Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah.
So it's Tyler Black and CM Punk, or Seth Rollins and CM Punk
versus the Kings
of Wrestling, and that's
that's
worth
probably a
the
fantastic
price.
match.
That's worth the price of the DVD to me right there. So.
Yeah. Moving on. Speaking of tag team matches, great segue.
Yeah.
We had the Vaudevillains versus Jason Jordan and Chad Gable.
And let's talk about real quick. The crowd is kind of turning on the Vaudevillains.
Yeah. Since the loss of the tag titles, the Vaudevillains got a little bit of a reaction, but as soon as Jordan and Gable came out, they got probably one of the pops of the night because they are super over.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a big difference when you go from the thing where I'm gonna call the big difference between WWE NXT crowd or WWE and independent crowd.
Yes.
That the WWE crowd is really easy to get over by a gimmick.
True.
You know, especially like longer ago, the gimmick could really, really put you over.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd with the independent scene / NXT is like, okay, a good gimmick comes around and they flock to it.
Like the Vaudevillains.
When somebody comes around and makes an impression as a really good wrestler,
like Jason Jordan and Chad Gable,
it sort of overtakes the gimmick.
Yeah, you really have to you have to find a balance.
You don't have a lot of over-the-top gimmicks in WWE, let alone NXT. Really, the Vaudevillains is where it's at.
Yeah.
As far as like weird out there gimmicks.
Yeah, and
there's no Stardust, there's no King
Yeah.
Barrett, there's no, weird other gimmicks.
Yeah.
There's no Hepatitis O'Neil.
Everyone just kind of has nicknames as opposed to gimmicks.
And yeah, so when somebody like Gable comes in and like, because really he got squashed a couple times, and then disappeared for a while, and then he came back doing the whole, Jason Jordan, I'll be your tag team partner shtick.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally got to see him wrestle, and he blew everybody's expectations out of the water.
Yeah.
So, boom, now he's going to be more over than the Vaudevillains, who are over primarily because of their gimmick, and not because of their wrestling abilities.
And speaking of Chad Gable's wrestling ability, we started the match with him versus Simon Gotch.
Yeah.
And Simon Gotch actually out-wrestled Chad Gable for a second.
Yeah, Gable and Gotch were wrestling, and Gable had him like straddled, and had him, and then they go for another lockup, and Gotch hits a flying armbar out of the lockup.
Yeah, and it threw Gable off for a second. He ended up like pinning him, and it was just a great first exchange. Jason Jordan looked great in this match. He came through when he got tagged in. He was just a house of fire. He was so pumped, just throwing his weight all the way around, tossing guys around. Gotch took one real big bump on the back of his head earlier.
Early in the match, right after all that exchange happened, Gable started doing all these single leg trips.
Mm-hmm.
He did one, and then he did a secondary one where he did like a backwards roll and grabbed the leg while he was doing the backwards somersault, and then stood up. And when he stood up and flipped Gotch onto his back, it looked like he hit his head really hard.
Yeah.
So I was kind of worried about him for the rest of the match.
Yeah. So Aiden gets tagged in. He got not much of a reaction when he got tagged in. He actually got booed a little bit when he got tagged in. And he tried to take it to him, but they started working the legs again. With great tandem work on the legs. Jason Jordan setting it up, letting Gable do the float over to kind of pull at the tendons and whatnot. Just fantastic tag team work on both sides. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable pick up the win with the assisted back suplex.
On to Gotch,
which worried him again because that one specifically looked like he landed really hard on the back of his head.
Yeah.
But despite that, we had both teams. They had a respectable promo before the match. Jordan and Gable went to shake hands with both the Vaudevillains after the match, and instead of handshakes, the Vaudevillains turned around and walked away.
Yeah, they were good enough to shake the hands before the match.
Yeah, but not so much afterwards.
Vaudevillains are playing the sore loser card here.
Yeah.
They're getting a little frustrated because this is the third loss in a row now.
Yeah.
They lost the tag. Well, technically, I don't remember them having another match between because they were doing a lot of tag team stuff for the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
They beat Samson Samson. I was moving forward in my my notes. No, they beat Fulton and Dawkins not too long after the last takeover. They haven't really had a big win. They even got eliminated from the Dusty Classic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's even before they lost the tag belts, it was the same team. It was the Mechanics that knocked them out of the second round of the Dusty Classic.
Yeah, so they're definitely on kind of a downhill spiral here. Or downward downhill spiral.
That's the thing too.
Yeah,
you spiral while you're going down a hill.
That's true.
Speaking of rolling down a hill,
Elias Sampson, which I just brought up, we had another really cool vignette of him
singing.
Him playing his guitar, singing with I love the simplicity of this. It's so cool, and I'm really looking forward to his gimmick actually becoming a mainstay. Because we've seen him be fantastic in the ring before, when, not necessarily expecting much from a jobber.
Yeah.
But, he's got to show his ability, and now he's got a pretty cool gimmick to add to it. Yeah, I'm digging it.
Then we saw a cool vignette for a British dude, Jack the Ripper gimmick. No, it was an advertisement for Takeover.
Yeah, that threw me off. The fuck, WWE. That and your Sami Zayn returns.
Yeah, this time we had a really long Sami Zayn.
Yeah, it was built up to
It showed
him winning the championship from Neville. So.
And then he's gonna return.
Yeah. And Kevin Hawk still hates when this happens. Then we had Emma and Dana talking about Asuka, and Dana
gets carried away,
yeah.
and Emma's kind of like...
Emma's like, chill the fuck out.
Calm down. I'm just going to go have a match.
Yeah, Emma would go have a match with now named Liv Morgan. She was formerly Marley. Everyone knows her as Joyzy.
Yeah.
The fucking crowd started chanting Joyzy, which was great.
Joyzy.
Everybody likes it except for Corey Graves.
Yes.
These two had a fantastic match. I love Liv Morgan. I think she's a standout from a lot of the girls that just kind of come in every now and again. And I'm looking forward to her getting more TV time because I think she's going to be a great asset to the Divas division.
Yeah, the one thing I think really that got me in this match, because fundamentally the match was sound.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of super to me entertainment value going on.
No.
Until you got to the point where I felt like Emma was trying to piss her off.
Something happened, and they got really mad at each other.
It's something that I feel like happens a lot between established veteran wrestlers and people who are trying to like break through and get noticed.
Yeah.
Is like you see the more experienced or like the main roster wrestler Emma, who's a fixture in NXT and WWE, and kind of like trying to piss her off, and then when she starts to fight back, and she gets pissed off, so she smacks Emma really hard. Then it gives Emma an excuse to really start hitting her back extra hard.
It's the
it's like almost
the unintentional receipt.
Yeah, it's like goading somebody in to letting you give them a receipt. Yeah, sort of thing. And I've seen that a lot, and it makes for kind of entertaining segments in matches.
Yeah. A vicious exchange. Eventually, Emma picks up the win, hitting her little curb stomp move, and then making Liv Morgan tap out to the Emma lock. But before Emma was out of the ring and walking away, Asuka would come up on the Tron, kicking the hell out of a punching bag, and would tell Emma
I'm just gonna call it a kicking bag.
Kicking bag. It's an Asuka victim. That's what it is. Asuka letting Emma know that she will see her in London. So we will be getting Emma versus Asuka. Good luck, Emma. You're going to die. But now let's talk about this main event. Tommaso Ciampa taking on Samoa Joe. Holy shit.
This was a thing.
If you haven't seen it, it is on our Facebook page. Tommaso Ciampa posted it. I reposted it to our Facebook page. Check it out. If there's anything you watch from this episode of NXT, this is it.
Did he post like the whole match?
I believe so.
Wow.
He posted a link. I commented on it. I shared it. Check out the Facebook down the description.
If you don't have the WWE Network,
get Hulu.
Pay the $10 just this month.
Yeah.
Just so you can watch Samoa Joe Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not going to say $10 so you get Takeover also.
I'm not going to say it was like a 5-star pay-per-view main event match.
It was a 5-star fight, though.
Yeah, it was.
Jesus Christ.
Tommaso sticking to what really brought him to the dance, which is being tough.
And Samoa Joe is the perfect opponent to do that because he will give it right back.
Yeah, Samoa Joe is a guy who makes his way in through wrestling as deceptively agile, but very technically sound, large individual.
Yeah.
Who just so happens to also be able to, even in Ring of Honor, hang in brawls with the likes of guys like Necro Butcher.
Yes, exactly.
So Samoa Joe, despite the fact that he's not, in the fist fight all the time, he's more so in the wrestling match, especially more so in WWE now. But you can't take away from the fact that he really hangs and ups the level of that style of match.
Yeah. And this was such a breakout moment for Tommaso. Not only did him and Gargano have a great run as far as they got in the Dusty Classic, we've seen them have more great matches on NXT, but this was a moment for Ciampa.
Oh, absolutely.
Ciampa got to stand out amongst a lot of the guys coming in here.
I mean, he had the like a rolling elbow that looked like it was going to knock Joe out.
Yeah.
He caught him right on the chin.
And, And then
he hit him like 3-4 more times and then enziguried him.
Yeah.
I thought Joe was down.
And then Samoa Joe with that kick in the corner.
Yeah, when Ciampa had him was attempting the Kimura, and then Joe planted him in the corner and then gave him that head kick.
Yeah.
That was like... And the camera was right there, so it was so loud.
It was like just all side of the head. And that fucking power slam, I jumped out of my goddamn seat when that happened.
Yeah, I wish I would have recorded your reaction to that. Because if we could just post that right now, which we can't because it's not there.
There's one power slam in the match. Watch that power slam. It is so fast. I jumped out of my chair.
Yeah.
It startled me. My body did that on its own. That was not my choice. My body reacted to the power slam. It was fantastic. No, these guys, fucking killed it. Ciampa, God, sign him, WWE. For the love of God. Sign him now.
I mean, as long as you're not signing him, I know he's going to get great use elsewhere. I mean, this past weekend he went against Phoenix.
That's,
before that, he went against Michael Elgin.
Yeah.
And he's all over the place.
Yeah.
He's not, he's been Ring of Honor, he's been PWG. So, it's not like he doesn't have options.
Yeah. No, he can go anywhere, but God, get him in NXT. Samoa Joe does end up picking up the win, hitting the ST Joe, and just
Muscle Buster.
Yeah, Muscle Buster, done. Yelling as NXT goes out there, Balor, I'm coming for you, and yeah, no, I was so excited with this episode of NXT. I'm really excited for NXT TakeOver, which will be in 2 weeks. So next week we'll probably have some predictions.
Next week we'll have the NXT TakeOver predictions.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of other matches that are going to be on the card because we got
the tag team title match,
the championship match. We have Nia Jax Bayley,
Asuka versus Emma, Cruz versus Corbin. Let's see, what else do we have? I think that might be it. Usually about 5 or 6 matches is kind of what they do for TakeOver. We might get one more added next week or something.
I'm excited then.
Yeah.
I want to see another match added. I want to see, I don't know, get Jordan Gable doing something.
You know what? It'd be kind of cool to see maybe Elias Sampson makes kind of like
return
debut. Yeah, this would kind of be like his full gimmick kind of makes a debut at this show.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Maybe like that.
Maybe. I hate to say, give him fucking Tye Dillinger, but that's probably who it would be because that's who Apollo got, and that's who Baron got this week. So I don't know, but yeah, they're gonna be at a sold out Wembley arena.
That's huge.
That's
a
massive.
big deal.
That's so cool.
Hey NXT, come to the Pacific Northwest.
Please.
You done Texas. You done New York.
We saw you in California.
You done Cleveland. Now you're doing London.
Yeah. You're going the wrong way. Come back this
Portland.
way.
Come to Portland, do Vancouver, do Salem.
Yeah.
Eugene, Albany.
Do every city in Oregon. We'll
follow you like sad puppies.
Well, on that note, thanks for watching the Midweek Wrap-Up.
Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe.
Click all those links down in the description.
There's a lot of them. There's Twitters and Tumblrs and Reddits and Instagrams and emails and podcast.
And a Facebook that I referenced earlier, where you can get we're posting all kinds of stuff on there. You can.
Yeah, we've got a picture theme for every day of your work week.
Yes, we do.
So if you're at work and you're bored and you want a little taste of wrestling.
You can check out the Facebook, you can check out my Facebook, or you can check out my Twitter, or you can check out the Instagram.
Because you're going to get Man Crush Monday,
Tag Team Tuesday,
Woman Crush Wednesday,
Throwback Thursday,
and Finisher Friday.
Hell yeah. Woman Crush Wednesday, yesterday, because this will be Thursday when this is posted, was Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
As chosen by Mr. Thomas Wolfe.
And Throwback Thursday, which is today while you're watching this, is the WrestleMania Intercontinental Championship match that happened between Bret the Hitman Hart and Roddy Piper.
Fantastic match. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Get the network, because you get that. You can watch that. You can watch NXT. You can
watch Joe Ciampa.
God, watch Joe Ciampa.
Do it. YouTube it. Download it. Torrent it. I mean, I'm usually against those things, but do it.
You know what else you should watch? That playlist over there. So we got a Raw review. Raw was pretty good. You can rewatch this because we love talking about NXT. Up next, we got the SmackDown Rundown. We got Thomas's Top 5 for the month of November. And then we got some indie news coming up. We'll have results from Chikara's Top Banana. We'll also have results for
No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
That's the one.
AIW.
With
Grado versus
Funny Equals Money.
Grado versus Tracy Smothers, and Colt Cabana versus Kikutaro, and Cliff Compton going to be there too.
Wake up! And the day! And we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next.